Good evening, and once again, welcome to my channel. My name's Gavin Boyter, and I'm going to tell you a story which is based, as ever, on 5 random words. And these random words are, and this is story number 45. No, it's not. It's story number 44. Get it right. This is called Flaming Skies and Frozen Secrets. What do you give a man who's stolen everything? Someone who built a vast empire on one outlandishly brilliant idea, a drug called agonia, derived from a poison procured from an endangered Amazonian tribe, used in their blowpipes to kill capybara and howler monkeys. Reverse engineered, refined and sold as the ultimate high. Agonia sends every synapse ringing with world-shattering pain, only to release the user into a blissed-out state of pure relief lasting many hours. On this ultra-addictive substance, Rodrigo Lopez had forged a $1 trillion empire. Now he wanted his biography written, and for some reason he had chosen me, Brandy Simmons, Pulitzer Prize-losing journalist, to write it. Flown me out here to his absurd Greenland ice hotel. Why me, Mr. Lopez? You could have had someone with an actual Pulitzer. Rodrigo, a greying 50-something with the waistline of someone who lived very well indeed, smiled sweetly. I noticed Rodrigo's shoes appeared to have been made from actual alligator. Because you deserve to win, yet lost with such class. I laughed, remembering tumbling headfirst into a pyramid of half-filled champagne glasses, the reason for the crescent moon scar over my left eyebrow. Over the next 17 days, while I shivered under layers of faux fur, Rodrigo, as he insisted I call him, told me a series of increasingly tall tales. Entirely fitting his status as a gangland icon, his anecdotes did not disappoint. Gold-plating his mother's walking frame for her 90th birthday, hiding from DEA agents in the sewers of his home village for 4 months, encasing his murdered rivals' heads in perspex and sending them back to their families, showing his contempt for cocaine by buying Colombia's entire crop of coca plants and having them burnt, then compressing the ashes into a gigantic diamond. I knew this latter tale was pure fantasy, but my researches showed everything Rodrigo said contained a grain of still incredible truth. If he actually allowed the publication of his biography, I knew I had a bestseller on my hands. Fuck the Pulitzer, I'll take #1 on Amazon any day. My visit culminated in a 4 a.m. trip to see the northern lights shimmering capriciously over the hotel. As I was gawping at the majesty of all those charged particles, Rodrigo leaned over from his skidoo to whisper, "Now, my dear, I'll show you the reason I'm giving it all away." I was taken aback. "You're what?" "I'm giving everything to charity. I'm going to make Bill Gates look like Ebenezer Scrooge." I was at a loss for words, not a position I often find myself in. That's admirable, but why? He laughed at my understatement. 1.1 trillion was probably enough to end poverty and hunger the world over with change. You'll see. Come. He tore off in a spray of snow, followed by his armed entourage. He'd assigned to me my own bodyguard, Tupi. I followed the headlights, lighting up the frozen wilderness, under a sky rippling with green and golden waves. I have an aversion to the cold, but having spent 2.5 weeks at -20 degrees, I was getting used to the exceptional beauty of Rodrigo's giant folly, situated 20 miles north of Kulasuk. We reached a rocky plateau that Tupi, a local, said had been under the ice until the permafrost began to recede. One of Rodrigo's main charities was Rising Tide, a local environmental concern. Rodrigo intended to give them $5 billion until the organization's own chair, Una Brothers, had gratefully declined most of it. They couldn't spend that amount fast enough to cope with the tax burden. Rodrigo had entered a strange realm where it was literally harder to spend money than earn it. The skidoos were parked in a semicircle around a tented-off area surrounded by Klieg lights. Rodrigo asked a minion to switch these on as we entered the canvas auditorium. As the place lit up, I was dazzled by silver-grey granite and pristine snow flattened by dozens of feet. A section of rock face, 60 feet long, was covered by a weighted tarpaulin. Rodrigo lowered his hood. Under here is the reason why everything I've worked for is utterly pointless. Look. Two of his henchmen lifted off the tarpaulin, revealing what had been protected underneath. A living frieze, fixed half in and half out of the rock. The clear outline of a woolly mammoth, embedded in stone, jagged scars across its flank. Behind it, a group of humanoid remains, some curled in fetal balls, other laid out flat, almost ceremoniously. I've had teams of experts flown in to see this. It's why I built the hotel. There, that's humanity for you. Where we came from and where we may be going, said Rodrigo. I read a story in the fossils there, frozen into place by an ice age that had pressed reset on civilization 10,000 years ago. A group of hunters pursuing a dangerous and rare prey had become trapped during a horrendous storm, with the terrifying creature they had finally killed. They had perished, then been covered in ice for thousands of years, revealed only now. It was a vision of life in extremis, an unthinkable past, perhaps just as unthinkable a future. I've done unspeakable things, Miss Simmons, said Rodrigo. I can order the death of politicians and journalists like that. Here he snapped his fingers. Was this a warning? No. He seemed more sad than exultant. I can buy anything I want. Diamonds the size of your fist, Caribbean islands, even a presidency. It's meaningless. I might as well be staring at my own death mask. I looked at Rodrigo, the world's most powerful man, reduced to a melancholy and apocalyptic pessimist. I had to admit, though, he had a point. What now? I asked, as his men covered up the prehistoric tableau. Rodrigo shook himself out of his stasis. He squinted towards the first glimmers of sunrise, leaking into the tent. I think perhaps breakfast. How do you feel about reindeer sausages? The end. So, I've got to mention at the start, that's actually kind of a companion piece to a story called Agonia. And what I'm going to do is make that the video that appears to your right, I think, bottom right. So if you want to see a little bit about the drug Agonia, there's some more down there. And I hope you enjoyed that. And I'm going to do another how-to video on another aspect of short story writing tomorrow. Haven't yet decided exactly which aspect, but that should be a little bit different. So anyway, as I say, as ever, please feel free to subscribe, share, like, and do all those other lovely social media type things. Stay safe, stay well, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.